Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with My Hero Academia. Last time on My Hero Academia, we had Fighting Fate. Oh yeah, so first off, we had the encounter between Deku and Lemillion and Overhaul, as well as the little girl known as Eri. Deku tried to figure out what was going on with Eri, but tried not to raise suspicions, but they did need to figure out what was going on with Eri, and Overhaul was about to get violent, but then Eri went back with him. So yeah, and this is really troubling Deku that he can't help the girl right now, but he needs to bide his time. Then we also had Deku going to All Might and being like, yo, what's up with Night Eye? And basically All Might spilled the beans that after his first battle with All For One, Night Eye actually looked into All Might's future, and 6 or 7 years after his first fight with All For One, All Might would die in battle. Horrifically, actually. And so yeah, that's why Night Eye is so insistent on finding the right successor to the Symbol of Peace, which is why he is very adamant about Mirio as opposed to Deku. And hopefully, though All Might did accept that would be his fate, hopefully they will be able to change the future. And Deku was also like, hey, well, couldn't we have Night Eye use his quirk again to see your future? See if anything's changed? So, it's possible. It's definitely possible. And then at the end, we had Shigaraki going back to the Shie Hisaikai, which I also figured out, by the way, that Shie Hisaikai is the name of their group, but Overhaul's name is different. What the hell was his name again? Dang, I had it and I forgot it now. It was like Chisaki. Yeah, it was something like that. I figured that out maybe not during the editing, but I figured it out. So yeah. But yeah, Shigaraki has gone back to the Shie Hisaikai and was like, all right, I'll join under certain conditions. So yeah, that was pretty much that. This is where I say no spoilers in the comments whatsoever. This is also where I say if you want to watch my reaction to this episode of My Hero Academia, what you gotta do is head down in the description or to the pinned comment, click on the link. That will take you over to the reaction. You can watch it just like a normal reaction, and when you're done with that, oh god, you can pop back over here to this video for the discussion. So with that being said, let's get right into this episode of My Hero Academia. Here we go. Alrighty, that was episode 5. Jam-packed episode. Really loved it. Oh god, excuse me. Oh man, a good Kirishima episode. We don't normally get episodes like that, so I'm glad. Oh, that was just so cool, man. Seeing them, they're out there being heroes, man. I love that. It's more than just, because I guess before, there always was a special, there was always an event that let them do hero work, Whereas this time, no, they're just out and about doing their job, They're doing their job. They're heroes now. They're just normal heroes. So, I like that. I like that a lot. It's just, you can just go out and have a fight now. That's just nice. So, and there won't be any, huge consequences like with Stain or something like that. It's like, nope, there's just... Go. You have your license, go. Meanwhile, it's pissing Bakugo the hell off, but nah. Oh well. He's gotta get good, man. He's gotta get good. Anyway. We can go ahead and hop into the notes. So the first thing we had was Hado, along with Uraraka and Asui, as well as the number 9 hero, Ryuk? It does have Ryuk in her name, so but yeah, the number 9 hero. That's pretty cool. I like that we're filling out the top 10, man. So the top 10, as far as we know currently, we have All Might, Endeavor, Hawks, Best Jeanist, Edgeshot, Ryukyu, and Gang Orca. So we're missing 6, 7, and 8. Who knows? Maybe 6 is afraid of 7 because 7, 8, 9. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. I will. I will. Here, I will flog myself for that joke. Nobody flogs with a sword. What am I doing? Anyway. But yeah, we got to see Hado out there. We got to know her power. She has this electricity power. Honestly, you'd almost think she would want Kaminari, you know? I'm setting a video to public, so just give me 1 second. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, you would honestly think that she would want... Like, I understand why she wanted Sue and Uraraka, because honestly, they just kind of work. Like, it's like, okay, you know, you've got the female hero who's the lead. Hado is really cute, so adding the two of them, they're also really cute. Like, they all just sort of fit together, you know? Like, it all just sort of works out. They're just all these, you know, awesome women just going out and fighting shit. Like, it all works. But you would also think... Now, granted, I guess, you know, even though she's an electric hero, that doesn't mean that... Ryukyu would want Kaminari, you know, because she's not an electric hero. So, and it's all about what the pro heroes want. It's not that... it's not them. You know, they can introduce the kids to... They can introduce Class 1A to these heroes, but... the heroes are the ones that want the kids specifically, you know? So that's the thing. And then we also got Amajiki. We got his quirk too, which is Manifest. So that was interesting, kind of gross, but kind of interesting. So he can manifest... He can basically manifest the food that he eats. So he always has like a diet of tentacles and... He has a diet of tentacles and chicken, so he gets like wings or just some bird, I guess, or like clams, which can be used, I guess, for like defense and stuff. So very interesting quirk, you know. It kind of makes you wonder, you know. Midoriya said last season that the big three didn't really take home any medals at the sports festival. I do kind of question that though, because it's like, well, wait a minute, they are pretty good, you know. Like, they're incredibly good. Like, okay, you know, you would assume Mirio, you know, could easily beat anyone, you know, well, because he's so skilled. You know, he has all that skill, you know, and he can drop through the floor and everything, but maybe not. Or, you know, Hado has her electricity. You'd think that would be able to disarm or disable anyone. And Amajiki, as long as he had the corrective breakfast... that he could do that. But it's interesting that Deku specifically pointed out that they didn't take home any medals. Like, they didn't really do that well in the sports festival last year, despite them being the big three of UA. You know, they are the top students at UA. Even though they don't have the best grades, they are still the top. So I like that. Anyway... but yeah, so we got a bit with Amajiki, which was cool. Another one of the quirk-canceling bullets. So it's not just a bullet, but it's an injection that can specifically... God damn it, that Christmas clock is going off again. Can you guys hear that? You have to be able to hear that. It's pretty loud. We have a Christmas clock up in the house, and my door is open, so every hour you're going to hear that now. Anyway, Merry Christmas. Anyway, what was I saying? So yeah, it is an injection that temporarily, basically, disables your quirk. So, because Shigaraki said that Compress's quirk was only out for a little while, and then it seems like Amajiki's quirk was out for a little while as well. So... So yeah, that's pretty interesting. And also, not only that, but we had the one guy who injected himself and kind of like with the movie, enhanced his quirk. Now, it didn't last for too long, but he did enhance his quirk with a drug, which was pretty interesting. So, yeah, we're getting into drugs in this season, man. That's awesome. It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what that would do to our, Class 1A. Kirishima was able to create Red Riot Unbreakable, but he was able to just create that form basically. But what if he got an injection like that? He'd be even more powerful. Or even if like Deku enhanced One for All for a little bit, like that would be pretty crazy too. Although I guess that kind of makes you question, would One for All actually gain anything? But I don't know. I would sort of say that would be questionable because One for All is such a unique quirk. But yeah, I mean, basically it is sort of a shot of One for All, like a temporary shot of One for All, basically. So that's pretty interesting. And honestly, yeah, it's really interesting because we also watched the movie just before, starting season 4. And in that movie, they had the device that would, enhance someone's quirk. Now, it enhanced it a lot more than what was enhanced here. But I find that to be interesting that they're sort of reusing that. I don't want to like make that sound bad, like, oh, they're reusing this thing. But it's like, yeah, they're sort of still using this concept of enhancing people's powers. So, yeah. I'm very curious as to where we're going this season. This season, honestly, it feels so different, Like, sometimes, it's an interesting thing watching these shows while their current season is airing live, but I'm behind. It's one of those interesting things because, like, I'll see people post their reactions and stuff to the current season, and I'm, like, 2 seasons behind sometimes. And I kind of think, like, oh, man, I wish I was there watching that season with everyone. Oh, I wish. But then I always sit back and think, like, well, I'm really loving where I am now, and eventually, yeah, I'll catch up there, So, and it was no different for season 4, which this was the first season that was airing while I was doing my reactions. And I was kind of thinking, like, oh, man, the great season 4, I want to know what's going on. And honestly, this does feel very different from the previous 3 seasons, Like, it's so strange. Like, I can't quite put my finger on why, but it is, It does honestly feel different from the past 3 seasons. Whereas, like something like Game of Thrones, where while I was watching that, the final season was airing, and then I eventually caught up and watched the final season. It was just the final season. It didn't really, like, change. Like, it didn't feel any different. Quality aside, it didn't really feel too much different. It was just like, oh, yeah, this is another season of Game of Thrones. Here we go. Whereas this time around, it's like, no, this does actually... Season 4 feels different from the other 3 seasons. And I like that. I really do like it. It's just so interesting. So, yeah. But yeah, so we had all the quirk-canceling. And then a good episode again for Kirishima for Red Riot. So he went in as Red Riot to break through, and I like that he tried talking to the guy, but it's like, okay, man, at a point you gotta just stop talking and take him down, It's like, oh man, he's crying again. It's like, look, when I was younger, it's like, okay, and he used that moment to escape. It's like, all right, Kirishima, you just gotta like apprehend him and then tell the story, man. So yeah. But we also got basically new powers for Red Riot. And I like that flashback of, showing All Might being like, oh, try to be a bulldozer. Which, sometimes, I always thought that was interesting when he said that. Because the thing with Kirishima during the final exam was he did try to be a bulldozer, and he failed because of it. He ran out of steam, Like, that was the whole thing about his final exam, was that he tried to bulldoze, but he and Sato ran out of steam. So All Might says, try to be a bulldozer. but now he has found a way to be a viable bulldozer. Like, you honestly wonder what the final exam would have been like if he had used this unbreakable form, you know? So, yeah. But I also like the flashback to Bakugo being like, hey, you know, you do need to be a bulldozer. Like, you do have this potential. In fact, I'm going to go watch that scene again. Yeah, it was nice, honestly. Like, I turned on subtitles for this episode, which you probably noticed if you watched the reaction, but I did definitely enjoy that. But even still, there's some things I have to go back and check.
That's what All Might suggested, but when it comes down to what?
You can't keep up. You must have forgotten what you told me during the cavalry battle.
You need a strong front horse. That'd be me.
And what All Might showed us at Camino.
Stand up.
That just standing up means you are strong.
Yeah. Just standing up means you are strong. It is basically, it's like, it's not even just like, oh, you need to be a bulldozer, but like, you need to power yourself to where you can hold your ground, you know? Which that's the thing. All Might did do that against All for One. He was able to stand his ground. He stopped the attack, and then he kept going, you know, switching around until eventually he was able to knock him down. So yeah, honestly, and it's also a bit of what Gran Torino said during that fight. You know, it's like, you can't stop him just head on. Like, use your wits. And it is a part of that where it's like, look, try, stand your ground, try to, use your wits, get harder basically, and then, find a way to attack, which he did, because Kirishima also, he stood his ground, but then while he was able to stand his ground, he then went in for an attack around. So it is very similar to that. So yeah. Red Riot Unbreakable. What a crazy-ass design, Basically, because, his hardening has always been... It's such an interesting design, so adding, having his hardening, which is already an interesting design, and then just keep going with that, Like, that was pretty crazy. So I like that. And it's the training that he's had. And this, he said it can only last about 30 or 40 seconds. Hey, that's pretty good, man. That is pretty good. And think about... because he's still a first year. Like, imagine how much stronger he'll be able to get with that, And, again, like I said, like, what if he had Unbreakable during the final exam? Hell, what if he had it during the sports festival, Because that was the thing when he fought Bakugo, was that Bakugo basically wore him out until, he basically used up all his hardening, and then he blasted him. So, this power-up, even if it doesn't last very long, this is a significant power-up for him. So, I like that. Again, good Kirishima episode. I like it. And we also had Red Riot Unbreakable Gauntlet, which was pretty cool. The attack, basically. So, that was cool. We also had the pro hero he was doing the work study with, which is Fat Gum. I was curious if he was another top 10, but they didn't say. They just said BMI hero. But yeah, very interesting. He kind of reminds me, like, there are like different characters that sort of have this power. He kind of reminds me of Majin Buu a bit, where it's like, he's so big. It's like, you can attack him, like, you can punch this guy, but your punch is not going to do much, So I like that. Like, that's really, really cool. And yeah, it was interesting. It's like, Kirishima had to break his limits and barely knocked that guy down. But then Fat Gum just takes him and it's just boom, and he's out. It's like, okay, that is pretty good. That does show how powerful, how strong Fat Gum is. And I would be very, and that just makes you think, oh my gosh, think about how strong Kirishima is going to be once he's, through all 3 years at UA, Like, this is crazy. Now, we had another moment. It kind of looked like they were about to start a backstory.
Hero someday. I'm sure of it. Thanks, sir. Young man, what's your hero name? Yeah, I want to...
Yeah. There's a heartbeat. Looks like a girl running.
Why didn't I help? Maybe now.
Okay, it looks like something happened. There was it looks like some sort of villain attack, and maybe he didn't get involved. So there's definitely something we're gonna need to learn later. But yeah, so I can't tell if that's before UA or after UA. His hair was down, so maybe it was before UA. I don't know. But yeah, there's some sort of maybe secret origin that we're going to have to learn about Kirishima. And then the last thing I wrote down was back in class. Back in class, they never taught us this. No, that's GX. They teach you everything in this class, though. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Just seeing all of them, like, yeah, oh, Red Riot is now in the news, and so are the 2 new sidekicks of the number 9 hero and stuff. So, like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I like that. But we also have Deku still being like, ugh, basically Deku being haunted by Aries' cry for help that he couldn't do anything about, and he still can't really do anything about. So hopefully they do something. I mean, we had Ryukyu, however you say her name, being like, oh yeah, well, our next case we're going to team up with Sir Night-Eye to take on the Shie Hasaikai. So I mean, that's pretty cool that it's like, okay, so, because I was curious if that's how, we were going to kind of get some, character plots intertwined here. So I'm curious if that will also be with Fat Gum and Amajiki and Kirishima. But yeah, so Uraraka and Asui are also going to be in on this attack against the Yakuza, which is pretty cool. So it'll be interesting to see who else. Maybe, who knows, maybe we'll get like Hawks, I don't know, with Tokoyami. So yeah, but that'd be pretty cool. I'd be very interested in that. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Great episode. Really enjoyed it. Really, really loving this season, man. Again, it's different, but I'm really, really enjoying it. So yeah, that is basically it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my My Hero Academia reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.